Clerks is a quintessential American independent film. With its innovative plot, Kevin Smith, the director, shot this film for $27,000. Smith, only being 24 at the time, had never directed a movie before Clerks. Smith got the idea for the film from his own life. He worked at that very quick stop when filming the movie. He never saw anything on the big screen that he would actually do in his real life. He was sick of watching movies that Hollywood executives thought young people would watch.
Early in my career, like all I ever wanted to do was see a movie where people talked like me and my friends. I watched so many comedies, never saw one where people like spoke like me and my friends, talked about the shit we found funny. I was always like, how come they don't make movies where they sit around and talk about pussy and Star Wars? Just that's enough. You can make a whole movie on that, right? And you know, one day I realized, like, Kevin, nobody's ever gonna do that. Nobody's gonna make a movie about the shit you and your friends find funny. Nobody knows who you and your friends are, and even if they did, probably not gonna fucking risk it all on what you think is funny or amusing. If you wanna see a story in which people talk like you and your friends, you gotta make it yourself. And that was Clerks, and like that kicked off my career.
Smith was right about his idea that Hollywood would never take a chance on a 24-year-old with no film school experience or previous film experience. Smith maxed out 12 of his credit cards to get the funding for the film. Without a big Hollywood budget, Smith had to rely on character development and dialogue to carry the plot along.
I'm as puzzled as you.
I've actually seen it before.
You know him?
No, I don't know him, but I know the behavior. Let me guess, he's looking for the perfect carton of eggs?
Yeah, how'd you know?
And I'll bet you $1 million he's a guidance counselor.
Why do you say that?
Well, I saw it happen in Food City like last year. Different guy, though. The stock boy said that he'd been looking through cartons of eggs for like half an hour, doing all sorts of endurance tests and stuff. I asked him why nobody ever called the manager, and he said it happens like 2-3 times a week, sometimes more.
Get out of here.
No, I kid you not. They call it shell shock. Seems to only happen with guidance counselors. They used to make a big deal of it, but they just let it go now, because they always pay for whatever they break, and they never bother anybody.
Well, why guidance counselors?
Well, if your job was as meaningless as theirs, wouldn't you go crazy too?
Smith and his crew shot the film entirely in 21 days. After Smith got done his late shift, they would film from 11 p.m. to 6 a.m. every night. Then he would go to bed just to get back up at 3 p.m. to begin his shift at the gas station again. He drew his motivation from the 1991 hit film Slacker.
It's like, I remember seeing Slacker, and I remember really enjoying it and laughing along with the movie when I saw it, but the people around me were laughing hysterically, dude, like gut-busting, like knee-slapping, as if it was like a Police Academy movie, maybe the second one or something, when we still kind of liked it. So I was just like, man, if they think this is funny, I think I could make a funny film. I said, well, this is what we have to do. This dude took Slacker to the IFFM. A year later, he had a distribution. So let's go to the IFFM and we'll get our distribution, because that's how it must happen for everybody, right? And I had no clue that it wasn't that simple.
Smith was able to get a slot in the 1993 independent film market. This was a big win for the young director, but he was immediately discouraged to see little more than those on the cast and crew in the audience. Luckily for him, though, one of the audience members was Bob Hawke, who was on the selection committee for the Sundance Film Festival. This jutted Smith into stardom after the film won a couple of awards at the festival.
We just wanted to say thanks. This is really cool. It's a really nice piece of glass. We thought we were actually going to be getting like one of the banners because there were 6 of them, but obviously we just think too much. So thanks, and thanks for enjoying Clerks.
This film created Kevin Smith's movie universe, where some characters have gotten spin-offs of their own, such as Jay and Silent Bob.
Fuck, motherfuck, noise. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, noise.
While others are referenced in different films, like Heather Jones and Rick Darris. Heather is Amy's sister in Chasing Amy, and Rick Darris is referenced in the dialogue as well.
You guys like date or something?
Date Rick Darris? No, we just hung out a lot.
Just you and Rick.
No, me.
Smith's universe has served as a base to his career, and he has Clerks to thank for that. Clerks allowed Kevin Smith to give his perspective on what it was like to be an American 20-something slacker.
Your voice is your only currency in this life. That's all you got. The things you see and perceive, the prism through which you process all the information that you take in, that's it. You're the most unique supercomputer on the planet, unique from everybody else. That perspective is valuable, insanely valuable, because nobody else can give it but you.
The way that Smith perceives the world has inspired many young filmmakers to try and make their dream a reality because of Clerks. It is cemented in independent film history and is the voice of a lost generation.